Every once in a while, as I scroll past the list of games on my Xbox Series X looking for something to play, there's a thumbnail that just catches my eye. And this time, that thumbnail was Mullet Madjack. I had never really heard of the game before, and definitely had no idea what style of gameplay it was going to be. So I watched the trailer, and I was pleasantly surprised. Mullet Madjack is a first person shooter where you only have 10 seconds to live, and you can regain more time, mainly by killing enemies. This makes for an extremely frantic game. Seeing the timer run down 3, 2, 1, and just in the nick of time, you kill an enemy in order to keep your run alive can be extremely satisfying. While not perfect comparisons, it contains similarities to some really fantastic games, as it really reminded me of Neon White with its fast paced, linear levels that can be beaten in under a minute. However, the fast paced combat actually gave me a similar vibe as Doom 2016 with the glory kills, and these are two games that I think are absolutely fantastic, so this style of gameplay really resonated with me. The timer system also acted as your health bar, as taking damage meant losing time, so it's possible to lose your 10 seconds of life within 3 seconds if you're constantly taking damage. This is where the game takes a frantic turn as you realize you have 2 seconds of life left and you desperately search for an enemy to take out. You could tell the gameplay was extremely thought out. While it might feel more natural to blast your way through the level, it's actually not necessary. In fact, oftentimes, taking that extra moment to take in your surroundings and move in a more strategic fashion would actually help the flow of the game. At first glance, it can seem like it's a perfect game for speedrunning. And while there can definitely be a case made for it, the game specifically tells the player, in normal mode at least, that finding the flow of the game can feel like a dance, and that's when the game is at its best. If you wish to enjoy the speedrunning aspect of it, it's there for you, with medals to achieve for fast times, but there's no obligation to worry about it. The game does also have quite a few difficulty options, ranging from no timer to permadeath, so you can enjoy the game according to your skill set. But I'm willing to bet that each level is designed to have an optimal path for pure, perfect destruction. One of the first things you'll notice about Mullet Magic is just how much personality this game has. Visually, it's very over the top, and yet it works perfectly well. There's so much style in terms of the game's presentation, and it starts right from the opening video package. When games have a unique look to them, they're able to stand out from the crowd, even if there's similar gameplay mechanics or video game tropes, which Mullet Magic has, most notably, the damsel in distress. Yes, you must save the girl who was taken hostage, and yes, the levels are essentially hallways with enemies, but that can all be looked past if the gameplay is fun and the packaging around it is unique. Video game tropes aren't necessarily a bad thing, as long as they're presenting a familiar thing in an interesting way, and that's what Mullet Magic is doing. As you work your way through the levels in order to save the girl, you'll be heading higher and higher within a building, and between each floor, you can choose an upgrade to help you on your mission. After each specific set of floors, you'll encounter a boss, and after defeating that boss, you'll lose your chosen upgrades and start the next section fresh. While at first, it can be quite shocking to see all your chosen upgrades just completely vanish, but you'll quickly notice that this is a great mechanic as it allows the player to try out different upgrades or weapons, and it'll help the player find different combinations that might be more useful as different types of enemies start to appear on the higher floors. If you happen to die, you'll go back to your most recent checkpoint, which will mean losing all current upgrades, giving you the opportunity to try another strategy. Throughout the game, you'll also gain permanent upgrades, but it's the non permanent ones that will really affect your ability to get through the next set of levels. Aside from your usual weapon choices, the game also has melee kills that really feel like they occupy the same gameplay usage as the glory kills in the recent Doom games. It can get you out of a jam by giving you extra health, along with a really cool death animation. They're also quite simple to pull off and are extremely satisfying to use. As for the visual style, it has a ton of bold colors and a good amount of detail in the levels, even though you're going to be moving at such a fast and frantic pace that most little details will pass you by. It took me longer than I'd like to admit that these vents can be used as shortcuts because at a quick glance, they look like set decoration. Now, the game isn't perfect. I did find the bosses to be extremely easy. Granted, I know I wasn't playing on the hardest difficulty or anything like that. However, I always felt like the actual level directly before the boss was far more difficult than the boss itself, which is counterintuitive to the video game logic that I'm accustomed to. I also found that the beginning of the game was so surprisingly frantic that I felt like I lucked my way through the opening stages. I almost felt overwhelmed by how in your face the visuals were, and with the timer ticking away, I felt pressure to rush my way through. It wasn't until I took a moment to purposely slow down and take in my surroundings that I felt like there was actual strategy into when and how you kill each enemy. I can completely understand how some people might look at the game and think that visually it's overly stimulating, because that's kind of how I felt towards the beginning. Now, I did get used to it, but there were definitely times where it felt like there was far too much happening on the screen. And there we have it, my thoughts on Mullet Madjack, a frantic first person shooter with extremely short levels that seem perfectly designed to be optimized for speedrunning. The game has a ton of personality and difficulty options, so you can play according to your skill set. And while it can initially feel like such a frenzy, finding that perfect balance between speed and strategy will put you into that flow state that so many games seek out. If you're looking for a game to scratch that same speedrunning mindset as Neon White, this might be the perfect game to try. And if this caught your attention, then you should know it is available on Game Pass, and I played it on my Xbox Series X with zero issues. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to hit the thumbs up. It really helps out a lot. And please don't forget to subscribe for more video game related content. Thanks for watching.